Welcome back to Futbol Mundial, where today again we bring you the weird and wonderful news from across the footballing world.
Yes, and you're in for a treat today. Russian troopers, Algerian bloopers, and I couldn't think of a third one to rhyme, so let's just move. We begin in Russia, where on the weekend fans of CSKA Moscow made a trip that puts other European supporter groups to shame.
Yes, you may remember Bournemouth fans moaning about their Monday night trip to Liverpool back in 2015, but that is child's play in Russia, especially with top-flight newcomers SKA Khabarovsk in the mix.
Yes, Khabarovsk is situated 19 miles from the country's eastern border with China, so compared with the journey from England's south coast to Merseyside, which takes about 5 hours by car, driving from Moscow to Khabarovsk would take a total of over 4 days, accounting for nearly a quarter of the world's circumference, not to mention the treacherous terrain of the tundra and the possibility of running into a Yeti.
Great joke. Anyway, unsurprisingly, CSKA Moscow supporters decided to hop on a 9-hour flight instead. And once they landed, they were greeted with a 7-hour time difference and a temperature of minus 22 Celsius.
Chilly stuff. Thankfully, they were also able to enjoy their team win as they scored twice in the final 10 minutes to condemn their hosts to a 4-2 loss. The victory means CSKA are still in the chase for the league with Zenit and Lokomotiv.
But more importantly, it means Khabarovsk remain bottom of the Russian Premier League on 12 points. Fans across the country will no doubt be praying they go down and spare them a grueling annual trip across Siberia. We head over to España now, where there's been a case of karma coming back to bite in La Liga, as Real Madrid took on Atletico on Sunday.
Yes, and the first Madrid derby at the Rocky Blancos new home was a disappointing one. The game ended 0-0, with the rivals managing just 4 shots on target between them all match. No wonder then that Sergio Ramos' nose was the main event.
But before we get into that, let's cast our minds back to last season's Champions League semi-final, where the Real captain was up to his usual tricks. Take a look at this.
Yes, once again Ramos not behaving himself, and with Atleti's Lucas Hernandez as the target. He got away with it too, escaping a red card and receiving no ban afterwards, meaning he could lead the team out for the final against Juve.
But the centre-back finally got his just dessert on the weekend, with Lucas sending him his delayed response with his boot instead.
Okay, so it was accidental, but we wouldn't be surprised if the young Atleti defender was secretly pleased with the result. Ramos, meanwhile, has used this as an opportunity to overstate his commitment to Los Blancos, tweeting, "I would bleed 1,000 times for the badge and this shirt."
Great emotion then, Michael. Get the cringer meter out though for that one.
Yeah.
But to be fair to the Spaniard, he's a bit of a trooper and looks set to carry on playing with a mask. And it's not the first time he's broken his nose either. When he suffered the same injury 10 years ago, he played on with no operation for 3 months.
You're odd. So Zach, before we move on, what is going on tomorrow?
Well, the fan favourite #fan hour is back tomorrow, Wednesday at 5 GMT. Me and the rest of Football Daily will be asking and answering your questions live on the Football Daily YouTube channel. Make sure you're there, and you never know, you might win a prize.
Really?
We make a quick skip over to Barcelona, thanks to Swagato Sakar for this story, as a certain Lionel Messi has been getting supporters rather worried.
Yes, let's not beat about the bush here. We all know the Argentinian's contract situation has the Catalan population shitting themselves on a daily basis. But now one of the region's most famous musicians has got involved.
Indeed he has. Joan Manuel Serrat penned an open letter to Barca president Bartomeu in a newspaper called
El País,
calling for the club to get Messi's contract signed, sealed and delivered.
Not only that, but he titled the article 45 Days, in reference to the amount of time the talisman has until he can negotiate pre-contracts with other clubs, and even brought up the Neymar fiasco to illustrate his point.
Clearly Bartomeu's presidency is still under major pressure despite the club's unbeaten start to the season. But where do you think Messi will be this time next year? Still at Barca or somewhere else? City, PSG? Let us know in the poll above. I really want him to come to the Premier League.
Next we have an Algerian losing his mind, and no, it's not Zach over here. He does lose his mind on a daily basis, but we can hardly call that news.
Great banter, McCubbin. But yes, these have not been the best few months of football in my homeland, and the disappointment of failing to qualify for next year's World Cup has clearly got to national team manager Rabat Majir.
Yes, indeed. Last week, the Fennec Foxes attempted to restore some national pride by defeating the Central African Republic 3-0 in a friendly, but the ghosts of qualification failure were brought back to life by the press after the game.
Spooky. Yes, Coach Majir was clearly annoyed by this negativity, and when one journalist started to question Riyad Mahrez, he interjected, telling the reporter to shut up and that he should resign and let the next generation take over. You should take the same advice, but yeah, check it out for yourself.
Riyad, 2 secondes. Moi, je vais vous répondre, monsieur. Monsieur Tchoubour, journaliste de la chaîne 3, vous êtes l'ennemi de l'équipe nationale. Vous êtes l'ennemi de l'équipe nationale. Et je vous le dis devant tout le monde. Écoutez les gars, si j'ai du respect pour vous, moi je n'ai aucun respect pour vous. Taisez-vous. Prenez votre retraite. Laissez la place aux jeunes.
Mahrez looking suitably bewildered there. But what is your favourite managerial outburst? There have been a fair few classics over the years. Let us know in the comments below with the hashtag bonkers.
Bonkers.
Dizzy Rascal quote this time.
We go to the Netherlands finally, where Feyenoord fans have shown some real class by supporting one of their players in a very difficult time.
Yes, indeed. Ex-Liverpool keeper Brad Jones commemorated a very sad day on the weekend as his son Lucas sadly passed away 6 years ago from leukemia at the age of just 6. To go through something like this is obviously soul-crushing and can be near impossible to come back from mentally.
So Feyenoord fans provided a very moving tribute, letting their stopper know his family have their full condolences by singing a rendition of You'll Never Walk Alone in respect to Luca. Have a look at this, it's absolutely brilliant.
Really amazing stuff there from the Feyenoord fans, a supporter group who have a reputation for aggression, showing humility and respect in a trying time for one of their own. A very classy gesture indeed. So that's Futbol Mundial over for another week, but what did you think of the stories? Did we miss anything out? Is there anything we should be covering next week? Let us know, as always, in the comments below. Also, what do you think of our tashes? I know mine's come a long way since the last week. Not sure about yours, Zach.
Hey! It's more prominent now. I've had a clean shave. You can see it. Maybe, hopefully. James is saying no behind the camera.
Either way, for my efforts alone, you should be recognising, go over to Movember, give some money to a great charity, great cause. Zach, what should they do next?
Well, as I said earlier, tomorrow on Football Daily's YouTube channel at 5 GMT, it's hashtag Fan Hour with me and all the FD boys. Make sure you're there and get your questions answered. It's 1 hour long. And as always, don't forget to like and subscribe.
If you got the pronunciation on this, then you're an absolute cretin.
So national team manager Rabat.
Oh, get out.
No!
Get out.